Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast, the season of healing intentionally. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am so glad that you are here. This season, we are slowing down to go deeper. Every Monday and Wednesday, we're creating a space of intentional healing, authentic conversations, and the kind of self-love that transforms from the inside out. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself intentionally is a foundation of true transformation. So whether you're on your own journey of rebirth, navigating life transitions, or simply choosing yourself, this is your safe space. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's heal together intentionally, because you deserve to embrace that beautiful person that you are. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people, welcome back to Threshold Thursday here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. You know what? This is a very special episode here. It is, because this one is coming from my heart. First, let me say this, that I am officially 11 weeks post-op from my explant surgery. And while I'm still healing, I am truly taking things slow. As right now we're just doing 2 episodes a week. But this particular episode here, it just wouldn't let me rest. And it was calling me, and it was just pulling me, and it was just demanding me to share this episode. Well, a few days ago, I received a DM on Instagram, and it just stopped me right in my tracks. Someone reached out to me and they said, "Hi, Nyomi. I love that you're trying to change and love your new life. But do you struggle sometimes wondering how others might view your past?" I have that problem too. And let me tell y'all something. When I read that, I felt that in my soul, because I knew what this person was feeling, because I've been there before. Where I am now is not where I started when I left the industry. And I promise you that it didn't. So this episode is for that person. It's for anyone who is reinventing themselves, anyone who is rebuilding, anyone that is reclaiming, anyone that is carrying this weight, this fear about being judged on who they used to be, And you know what? This is the perfect way to close out our Stepping into Authenticity series this month. What way to end it, right? You know, we've been diving deep into what it means to show up as your true self. And today we're bringing it home. We're bringing it right home with this powerful conversation about living unashamed. This ties directly to our year rebirth theme, because rebirth isn't just about you becoming new. It's about integrating every version of yourself and standing unashamed in your full story. But you know what? Let's take a quick break, and then we come back. We're going to get deep into this conversation, all right? It's your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good, so I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
Hey, it's your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks, and make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more. We're bridging the gap between them all, and we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by. Me and Dr. Mike, as well as the BTG crew. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to xnyomi.com and tell them Nyomi sent you. All right, welcome back, my beautiful people. Welcome to the Season of Self-Love Podcast. Again, my name is Nyomi Banks, and today is a very special episode for Threshold Thursday. It's called Reclaimed and Unashamed, Living Beyond Others' Judgments. As I said before, this is probably the very best way to end this amazing series that we had this month of stepping into your authenticity. But before we truly get into this topic, you know how we do it. We're going to take a nice little moment for us just to ground ourselves before we do that. So right now, wherever you're at in this moment in time, I ask that you get comfortable as we do this, all right? Wherever you are right now, I want you to find a comfortable position. And if you are driving, I want you to keep your eyes open. But everyone else, if you feel safe to do so, gently close your eyes. Now let's start with 3 deep breaths together, okay? I want you to breathe in slowly through your nose. 2, 4. Now release it through your mouth. Again, breathe in through your nose. Hold. And let go. One more time. Filling your lungs completely. Now exhale everything that doesn't serve you. Now bring your awareness to your feet. I want you to feel them on the ground, connected to the earth. You are supported. You are held. And I want you to place one hand on your heart. And I want you to feel it beating. This beautiful rhythm that has carried you through every single chapter of your life. Now I want you to visualize your past, not as a prison that confines you, but as a foundation that you're standing on. Every choice, every mistake, every moment of joy and pain. There's stones beneath your feet making you steady and then making you strong. Now I want you to imagine any judgments, any shame, any fear, or what others think. I want you to visualize it as a dark fog around you. And now, with each breath, I want you to watch that fog dissolve. It has no power here. It never did. Now I want you to bring your awareness back to now, to your solar plexus, just right above your belly button. That's your power center. I want you to feel it glowing with golden light. This is your power. This is your choice. This is your voice. Now say with me in your mind, I am not my past. I am my choices today. Now bring that light up to your heart center. And I want you to feel it expand with green healing energy. The energy of self-compassion. The energy of self-love. You are not broken. You never were. You are whole. You are integrated. And you are complete. Now when you are ready, take one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, I want you to let this affirmation settle in your bones. I am reclaimed. I am unashamed. Now gently open your eyes and wiggle your fingers and toes. And I want you to come back to this moment. I am reclaimed and I am unashamed. If you are new here to the Season of Self-Love Podcast, it's something we do every show is that we have ground ourselves before we get into the topic at hand. This one's a little longer than we usually do, but I truly felt like we needed to do this today. And like I mentioned, I got that message a few days ago on Instagram, and it truly pulled at my strings. I felt it in my heart and my soul. And I'm gonna tell you very honestly, it truly made me full. And what I mean is because I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing and why I am here in this moment now. But I know me getting to this point right here, it wasn't that easy. And just as that letter asks me, how can I get past those judgments? So what I done in my past, how can I get there? And so I want to talk about the very first thing is the fear. It's a fear on what others might think of me. So when I did receive that message, you do struggle. You do struggle sometimes wondering how others might view your past. And let me tell you what that's really asking. What's that really saying? And I know because those are the feelings and the emotions that I went through. It is asking, am I less than because of my past? And it's also asking, will people judge me? Will they see me as damage? Will my history define my worth? But it's also asking, am I allowed to change? Am I allowed to grow? Am I allowed to be someone new while still honoring who I was? And here's what I want you to know, that this fear is universal. What you're feeling is so universal. It's everyone has felt that feeling no matter what they had done in life. So if you felt this, know that you are not alone. You are not broken for feeling this. You are beautiful. You are perfectly human. But here's where it gets heavy. And I remember having this conversation with my husband earlier today. Women carry all of this differently. We carry this differently. We carry the shame differently. We carry the guilt differently. We carry this in a way that men often don't have to, because society has taught us that our worth is tied to our purity. Our worth is tied to our choices. Our worth is tied to our bodies. And our worth is tied to our past. We're taught that redemption arcs are for men. But women, we're supposed to be perfect from the start. From the start. And there's this. There's a difference between shame and guilt. And I think that is very important to name that here. Guilt says, I did something wrong. Shame says, I am wrong. Guilt can be very useful when it tells us when we've stepped out of alignments or with our values, and it guides us, back to the same way. But when we talk about shame, shame is a prison. Shame is you are your worst moment. You are your biggest mistake. You're your most painful chapter. And shame will keep you small. Shame will keep you silent. And shame will keep you hiding. And as I mentioned before, I know this. I know this because I lived it. I lived it. So I want to share something with you all. I had created an album that I released for my birthday called The Soundtrack of the Rebirth. And there's one particular song called Reclaiming Unashamed. And how I began writing this song was just remembering me when I felt the very first time I felt that I was not woman enough. And this is when I was 13 years old. I was 13 years old, flat chested, had little nubs, and I was staring at myself in the mirror. And I remember questioning Everything about being a woman, is it about my breast? Do I need to have breasts to be able to be a woman? Was my womanhood my worth? And I remember the confusion. I remember the tears. I remember wondering if I'm enough. And this is at 13 years old. It don't matter how fast I was, faster than the boys. It wasn't how great a basketball player, how far I can throw a baseball, how high I can jump. It did not matter to that at all. Because I didn't have boobs that made me feel unworthy of being a woman. And then I want to fast forward a little bit to remembering building my career in the adult industry. I became what I call an infamous household name, across the world. But then watching as I start to transform into this person who I am now, I was being shamed and judged for the choices. And these choices, and it might sound crazy, it gave me power. It gave me a voice. And it gave me my platform. And then I remember standing at 53 years old, I want to say 52 and a half years old, looking at the scars from my explant surgery. Scars, I love them now. And realizing that every single decision that I made, even the ones that people judged me, brought me here. Brought me to this moment. Brought me to this healing. Brought me to this version of myself that is so free. It is so free. But what it also does, it connects me to everything that I'm doing. The podcast, the season of self-love, Ask Nyomi, Bridging the Gap, the book I'm writing, Reclaimed and Unashamed, the mission to raise awareness for breast implant illness. All of this is about taking back my narrative. I always say, don't read a book by its cover. Take the time to read the pages within the book. That's me. You can't just read the cover of my book and say that's what that is. No, baby. There is so many chapters. And that's only one book of many books of my life. But also, here's the other truth. Here is, other people's opinions are not your responsibility. Their judgments are not your burden to carry. So now what I want to do is I want to reframe it. I want your past to be your power because it is. And I want y'all, if y'all listening right now, just in this one moment, I want y'all to just say after me, my past is my power. My past is my power. So let's talk about reclaiming versus denial, because there's a huge difference. Denial says that wasn't me. That wasn't me. I'm pretending like that never happened. That wasn't me. And reclaiming and reclamation says, oh, that was me. And here's what I learned. Here who I became because of it. So the thing is that you're not hiding your past. You're reframing it. You're owning it. And you're integrating it. Your past doesn't diminish your present. It informs it. Think about it. Every lesson, every hardship, every choice that society might judge you for, those things gave you wisdom, resilience, empathy, and strength. I'm going to say this one more time. Everything, every hardship, every choice that society might judge you for, those things gave you wisdom, resilience, empathy, and strength. And in my song, Reclaimed and Unashamed, I talk about looking at my reflection at different stages of my life. At 13, questioning my womanhood. At 31, deciding and choosing to get implants in my chest. At 34, 35 years old, getting into the adult industry and feeling less than. And then at 53, finally understanding that all of those versions of me were valid. They were necessary. They were divine. And see, the difference between shame and wisdom is ownership. I own me. I own this. But shame says I'm bad. And wisdom say, I learned. Now, I want to take you to the DVD principles. We hadn't talked about this in a long time, and I want to talk about this. And if you're new here and don't know what DVD principles is, it's called decision, visualization, and discipline. And I learned this from reading last year around this time, Change My Paradigm, Change My Life by Bob Proctor. But I wanted to implement it into the words and the speaking and teachings that I do here on the season. So just in life, period. And because this is what I implement into my life to where how I can live and I can reclaim my life every single day. So I have to remember those DVD principles. So let's talk about the decision. When you decide that you want to reclaim your life and be unashamed, you have to decide to change. You have to decide to change. And you deciding to change, that's power. That's agency. That's divine feminine energy in action. That is your need to heal and want to heal in action. And you don't need anyone's permission to evolve. So then let's talk about visualization. This is where you see yourself as whole, not broken, not fragmented, not defined by your past, but your whole, integrated, evolved, where you visualize yourself walking to rooms, unashamed, held high because you know your worth. So let me go back and share a story with you all on when I decided to leave the industry. And I remember, and I think I shared this story before, I remember being in my car praying every time I'm on my way to set. And that prayer was, God, please show me when it's time for me to leave. And the reason why I left that industry, I left the industry performing in front of me, because I received the sign. And when I decided to do that, I remember my decision like it was yesterday. And in that decision, I told my community, and my community was the people in the adult industry. It was at NmW&x Awards. I remember I was a co-host with myself and Alexander DeVoe. I was a co-host. And I remember at one point I was just hiding my pregnancy. Somebody knew it was something going on because I had canceled shoots and everything like that, because I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. And I remember getting on set, getting on stage. And it is so funny, DeVoe didn't even know I was pregnant. And I stood on stage. And I remember he was standing right next to me, and we were talking. And then I was like, I did a Beyonce. I opened up my jacket and pulled out and just let my stomach show. And it was just there. It was, there. And everybody was like, oh my God. Like, real, this is what's going on. But I knew then it was time for me to leave the industry in that form, in that version of myself there. And everything kind of set me up, because at that time I was still doing Playboy and Sirius Radio. So I was still connected to the adult industry, but I was no longer in front of the camera. And so what that did, it gave me time to heal backstage, if that makes sense. It gave me time to heal, because I didn't know what was planned for me, but God knew what he had in store for me, and knew that I would have to be able to sit on this platform like this and create other platforms for other beautiful souls who need to and want to reclaim themselves and live their lives reclaimed and unashamed. So I made that decision. But also through that and going through my healing journey, I had to think about, how can I visualize that? Where did the visualization come from with me doing that? And I remember thinking about, creating chocolate radio, a whole station. I thought about, doing I created so many different businesses, because that was my that's my brain fog getting to me. Y'all have to excuse me, but my visualization on what my life was to look like and how it's to evolve. But I was still wrong. And I don't want to say I was wrong, but I think I know that I was limiting myself. And I remember continue to keep myself around in those circles. And in that, because that's all that I knew in that time, even though I was only actively in that industry for 6 years, but that's all I knew. That's all I knew is Nyomi Banks. So my persona before then, that person before then, was gone. And so again, when I read that message and that, I knew exactly how that person felt. But then again, that told me there is that, Nyomi girl, you're in the right place. You're doing the right thing. Do you understand? This is why this needs to be done. This is why. And then let's talk about the discipline. This is a daily work. This is showing up as your highest self, regardless of others' narratives, setting boundaries and honoring your story and refusing to shrink. And let me tell you how I became disciplined. It's when I realized that I can no longer search outside of myself for validation or approval. I can't. I cannot look at other people's values as my values. I cannot look for somebody else's love to define me and my love for self. And I remember asking myself, how do you love yourself? Do you love yourself? What does it take to love you? I remember asking myself that. And then I remember hearing, you have to have an intimate relationship with yourself. You have to fall in love with yourself. And that's everything about yourself. Your past, your present, and your future. Your past relationships, your past everything, all the good, bad, and ugly of it. You have to love all of that. But also you got to figure out, why did I go through that? What did I learn from all of that? And how are you going to make that your power, your superpower? So even when this year came around and I said, this is going to be the year of the rebirth. Last year was the year of domination. This year is the year of the rebirth. And when I claimed that, I promise you all, I did not know that I was going to remove my implants. That was not in my cards. But once I decided, I made the decision, and then I visualized what I would look like without them. And then the discipline came from self-love. It came from what I've been doing here for 2 years in front of you all, but also what I've been doing for 8 or 9 years in my closet, at my altar, in my prayers. It's finding out who I am. Who I am. Let's remove all of the names. Let's remove all of the labels. Let's remove all of that. Who am I? What is my purpose? What gives me joy? And I had to go back. Like, what gives me joy is giving people advice. It's helping people, empowering, encouraging, inspiring people. When I was a little girl, I said I wanted to change the world. I was laughed at and said, you can't do that. And I thought I couldn't, especially now that I had got up on the camera and was doing a freaky deaky. I thought I could not do it. But God showed me something totally different. He said, yes, you can. He said, because I need you flawed. I need you flawed so you can stand up there so other flawed people can see you, because guess what? We all are flawed. There's not one perfect person in this world. Not one. Not even the little babies that's been born today. Not one. But it took me some time to learn and understand that. That's because I had to learn and understand who I am. Who I am as a spiritual being. Who I am as a beautiful soul. Who I am as a beautiful person. And you see, I didn't say woman. I didn't say man. I didn't say black. I didn't say white. I had to go inside of me and heal that. And I want to redefine what unashamed means, because it's not arrogance. And I know people say, oh, Nyomi, you full and you got it all together and you this and you that. I've been told that before. Somebody told me before, you speak very highly of yourself. And I said, why shouldn't I? Should I wait for somebody else to talk highly of me? I'm not about to wait for somebody to give me my flowers when I know the work that I've done. I know what type of person that I am. I know what my character is. But I also know that when I redefine what unashamed is, again, I'm not being arrogant and I'm not being reckless either. And it's not pretending that I'm struggling, because that's not it. I'm telling you all, unashamed is being honest. It's being grounded. It's being self-aware. It's ownership. And it's saying, yes, that was me. That was me. Yeah. And I'm not apologizing for my evolution. I'm not apologizing for my growth. And neither should you. It's something that I say all the time. Never allow anybody to keep you in that box. You know, what's that movie called? They say, don't nobody ever put baby in that corner. Don't ever allow nobody to put you in a corner. There are so many multi-dimensionals of all of us. All of us. Of all of us. I want y'all to think about some women throughout history who has reclaimed their narratives. Maya Angelou. Remember, I read somewhere that she was a stripper or a prostitute, and if I'm wrong, please tell me, but it was something in that sort. She was sexually assaulted, and so was Oprah. And these two women in their own communities have been through hell and came out standing in their truth. You got people reciting Maya Angelou's poems. I remember at the time they said that she couldn't write or read or speak. Imagine that. Imagine that. And here's the authenticity advantage of all of that. When you own your story, when you own your stories, others can't weaponize it against you. Your vulnerability becomes your armor. Your truth becomes your power. And perhaps the most beautiful thing is that you give permission for others to do the same. But I want to say this before I go on to the next segment, is that you decided to go through this change. You decided to grow, to move on, and to heal. But when you do that, I want to make sure you do the work. Don't come on these platforms and pretending that's who you are. Go through the work. Do the mirror. Look at yourself. But you know what? I got something better, because I'm going to help you with some tools that could possibly help you if you apply them. And this is how to live daily. So we talked about fear. We talked about reframing. Now let's talk practical. How do we actually live this out? So the first one is tool number one. Call that the narrative rewrite. This is about learning how to tell your story in a way that honors your growth. So this is what I'm going to do with Dr. Will saying. I don't know if you're at home or wherever you at. I want you to get a piece of paper and a pen. As Dr. Will was saying, a purpose paper and purpose pen. And these are, I'm giving you 4 tools to help you to get past these judgments on how to reclaim and unashame your life. So tool 1, the narrative rewrite. Again, this is about telling your story, about learning how to tell your story in a way that honors your growth. So here's the framework. This is what you say. I used to, and now I. So for example, I used to let other opinions control my choices. Now I trust my own inner guidance. Or I used to hide parts of my past out of shame. Now I share my story to help others heal. And then for me, this is mine. I used to work in an industry that society judged, but that experience taught me about power, boundaries, and reclaiming my body as my own. Now I use that wisdom to help women heal from breast implant illness. And I help others to step into their authentic selves. I help others to search for that inner love that they've been searching for. So you see how that works? So you're not denying your past. You're showing the growth. You're showing the transformation. You're showing the wisdom gained. All right, so tool 2, boundary setting. This is an important one. And here's the hard truth. Not everyone gets access to your full story. So you don't owe everyone an explanation. But who gets to know your journey? The people who earned your trust. The people who see you. The people, listen to me, the people who celebrate your evolution, whether they're judging your past, rather than judging your past. And can I be honest? Sometimes the people that was in your circle, closest people, they don't deserve to know that full story. They don't deserve to be there. They don't deserve to be. It can be your family members. It can be your closest friends at that moment of your time. But if they're going to continue to bring up and don't see your growth, then nah. Nope. That's when you have to learn your boundaries. But also when judgment shows up, and it will, you have several options that you can do, several options. You can educate if you have the energy. You can educate them if you have. I know I've done it quite a few times on social media. Or you can redirect them. I appreciate your concern, but I'm at peace with my journey. I've done that too. Or you can simply say, that's not my story to defend. I remember on one occasion, I was saying something very positive. And I was sharing a story on why I got into the industry. And actually, this video kind of went a little viral. And I told it about me getting into industry because I was helping my mother and my father with his medical. And that was the reason why I got into the industry, for financial gain for that. And I remember looking at a comment. It was a bunch of them that said that my father should be ashamed of me. And if they were my father, I would kill myself. And, so many different things. And I remember looking at that. And at a moment I was hurt. But then I had to realize that's not even my story. You understand what I'm saying? That's not even my story. So people say, well, you would never get married. You would never have any children. You would never be worth anything. But that's not my story. So why would I get mad at that when that's not even my story? That's not my story. So when I thought about that, wait, again, that ain't your story. And I'm not going to allow anybody to put that narrative on me. Because here's the thing. I am not on trial. You are not on trial. You are not required to justify your existence, your choices, or your transformation to anyone. Why I choose to do this because I know that this is a part of my purpose. I know that this is a part of my assignment. And I love to encourage and inspire others. I said I want to change the world. And damn it, I'm doing it one person at a time. Whoever my community is, I'm able to help them to reframe and redirect their thinking of themselves. And let's go to 2-3, spiritual grounding. This is where I want you to build a daily practice that anchors you in your truth. And hear me out when I say this. I want you to create an altar space, even if it's small, even if it's a corner of a home, in your closet. That's why I started off in my closet. And I want you to place items that represent your reclamation, whether there's photos of yourself at different ages, if you do crystals, that affirmation cards, candles, or even you just writing a letter or words to yourself. All right. But now I want to share 3 affirmations that I want you to write down, and I want you to speak these daily. Number 1, I release the need for others' approval. My validation comes from within. 2, my past is my power, not my prison, and I am reclaimed. And 3, I am woman, or I am man, whichever one you are. I am woman or I am man, whole and complete exactly as I am. All right. Now I got some more for y'all, because y'all know I'm a color girl. I believe color is energetically for me. Very energetic. Y'all see me with this loud red hair, because color is a spiritual practice for me. I use specific colors for healing. Red is for reclaiming, reclamation, and is root chakra grounding, standing firm in your truth. And gold is for abundance and my solar plexus power, owning your voice. And then green is for heart chakra healing. That's self-love and compassion. If you was to come into my home, you would see all of those colors. All of those colors, because every room that I go in, I want to have that healing feeling. You understand? I want to have that grounding feeling. You know, I want to feel that abundance. I want to be able to own my voice and speak and live in my truth. So I want to share this with you. When we talk about chakra focusing, this is what you should be. Root red, stability. Stability in your truth, feeling grounded in who you are. That's red. That's your root chakra. Then next is green. These are colors that I want you to focus on. Green, that's the heart chakra. That is self-love. And that's compassion for, listen to when I say this, all versions of yourself. And then we're going to go to the crown chakra right here. That's violet. That is the spiritual alignment that's connected to your higher purpose. And 2-4, community over judgment. You need people around you who will celebrate your evolution, not people who would keep you tied down to your past. Even those people that try to sneak diss you, you have to remove them from out of your circle. Find people, build your circle, create spaces where vulnerable storytelling is honored. Because when you stand in your truth, you create a ripple effect. You encourage gives people permission to be courageous. Your courage does that. That is what encouraging means. And your freedom gives permission to be free. Again, I tell you, when I received that DM, and I get lots of DMs, but this one stood out to me. So now we want to go to the deeper truth. What is this really all about? Because it isn't just about personal healing. This is systematic, right? And we about to go here. As women, I'm a woman. As women pass, we are scrutinized differently than, again, our man partners. And a man with a colorful history is experience is complex, interesting. But a woman with a past is damaged, is questionable, is less than, is unworthy. But all of this right now, everything that I'm speaking today, it connects directly to my advocacy work, whether it's raising awareness about breast implant illness, about supporting sex workers, standing with abuse survivors. All of this is about women reclaiming agency over their narratives. So when you take control of your story, when you refuse to let others define you, that is an act of resistance. So let me talk about the rebirth concept, because it's not about starting over. It's about evolving. I remember a few weeks ago, a friend of mine came by, we sat around, and he said, "You don't think you're changing?" And I said, "No, I've always been this way." I said, I'm just becoming a better version of who I already am. And I don't think he understood exactly what that means. And it's like, I'm not erasing anything of who I am or what I was or what I did, because that is what created this whole amazing thing of me. It is my past. It is what I went through, but also is what I've taken from that, and I learned from that. And I do things differently. I grow. I don't stay the same. Because again, I'm not erasing of who I am. So you're not erasing who you are. You're integrating them. You're having conversations between your past self and your present self. And you're allowing them to coexist. So you can make this become this amazing person that's going to do some amazing things out in this world. So at 13, I was questioning my womanhood. At 31, I began to build a career in the entertainment industry that society later tried to shame me for. And at 53, I removed my implants that was destroying my body, and I reclaimed my original form. All of those versions of me are still here. I'm going to say it again. All of those versions of me are still here. They're in conversations. They're in the building. They're in the building, the legacy that I'm creating. So through this podcast, through the book, Reclaimed and Unashamed, coming October 14, 2026, 2026, through events and community that I'm giving other women, other men, other couples permission to be reclaimed and unashamed. That's the empowerment ripple effect in action. One woman stands up and say, "I refuse to be ashamed." And then another woman sees that and she thinks, maybe I don't have to be ashamed either. And then it spreads. This is how we change the narrative, not just individually, but collectively. So let me bring this all home with y'all today. So your past doesn't define you. Your choices today do. Reclamation is an act of self-love and spiritual alignment. Unashamed is a choice that you make every single day. So to the person who sent me that DM, I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much for sending that to me, because that gave me the nudge to do this episode. But also to everyone else that's listening who's carrying this fear, I see you and I see you. I honor you. And I want you to know that your past is not a liability, that is your superpower. Man, as I am sitting here right now, I remember a beautiful loved one of mine, one of my favorites. And I remember talking to him about he had did some time in prison for a few years. And I remember talking to him about let's create you a blog and let's talk to those young boys or those men that have been through the prison system and give them some encouragement, to let them know your story, because you just don't know who you might hear and you might hit that could resonate, that might give them a different perspective on what their life is today, that might help them to move further along in their life. So even though I said a lot about women today, this is not just about a woman thing. This is about a human being thing, about a person thing. This is about someone who has made a choice in their life, in that season of their life, that they shouldn't always have to be at that season. They shouldn't always have to be at that chapter. That it's time to turn the page. It's time to close that book and open up another book. It's time to open up another book. It's time to turn that page and start a new chapter. What a way to close out this Stepping Into Authenticity series, huh? I mean, we've journeyed together this month, and I am so grateful for each and every one who has been walking this path with me. I thank you for each and every one of our guests this month. Now, next week, we're starting something new. We're starting something so beautiful in our new series, and it's called Giving Back, the Power of Service and Community. And we're going to explore on how serving others become a pathway to our own healing, and how community transforms us, and how your gifts are meant to be shared with the world. And I want to invite you all to just share your reclamation stories with me. Send me a DM or leave me a comment or just join the community. But let's build this movement together. And I want you to mark your calendars. Reclaimed and Unashamed, the book. This is not a workbook. This is the book. It drops October 14th of 2026 of next year. Oh, and I have some more exciting news. And I can't wait to share it because I had some more things to do, but we locking it down. The Unstoppable Radical Transformation Tour is kicking off in 2026. We're bringing this message to 5 cities. 5 cities, and our first stop is right here at home, here in Las Vegas. We're looking at April and May. We just got to get the dates locked down with the venue. And this is going to be a very powerful and transformative. And I cannot wait to connect with you people in person. I cannot wait for that. And more details will be coming soon, so I want y'all to stay tuned. But for now, I'm going to leave you with this song that inspired the whole entire episode, along with that DM. This is Reclaimed and Unashamed from my soundtrack of the Rebirth album. And let these words wash over you. I want to thank you again. And remember to always love yourself.
let's begin it there. 13-year-old reflection in the mirror, searching for the woman that's inside of me. Questioning, does my outer woman have to match my inner woman? As Mother Nature has visited me on many occasions to let me know I am a woman. But this reflection tells me something different. Is there a choice? Do I have a voice in what truly makes me a woman? Or is it just a 31-year-old woman seeing a reflection of that 13-year-old girl? As tears run down my eyes, knowing that only a woman can give birth to a child, and I've done that twice. So why am I feeling less than? I reclaim my body. I release the shame. This is my body, my choice, my voice. I am woman, whole and complete, just as I am. Reclaimed and unashamed. I'm finally free. Let's fast forward. Career is amazing. My womanhood is made an infamous household name. Hold up, let's not laugh too loud as the world tried to shame me yet again for my decision. But they don't understand that this path was a part of my journey. As I stand as a vessel of God and in service of others, as a name that once was looked at as shame, I'm here to reclaim both the name and my authentic self, and my original womanhood body with my voice scream loud. I've reclaimed and so unashamed. So I stand looking at my 53-year-old body with scars that I love. The decision I made in my 30s don't define me as a mother nor of my womanhood. Throughout the last 20 years, those foreign objects have tried to destroy my body, but my sorrow something came through. My choice, my voice. I am woman, whole and complete, just as I am. Reclaimed and ashamed. I'm finally free. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me today on this journey of intentional healing. I hope that this conversation has filled your cup and reminded you of the beautiful and worthy person that you are. I want you to remember, healing isn't about rushing. It's about showing up for yourself with love and intention, one day at a time. So I'll see you back here Monday and Wednesday for another episode of the Season of Healing Intentionally, right here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. So until then, keep choosing you. And visit us at the seasonofselflovepodcast.com for show notes and resources. And remember to connect with me on Instagram at The Real Nyomi Banks. This has been brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, because your healing matters. You are loved, you are worthy, and you are exactly where you need to be. Take care.